Welcome to the Soul Brothers with my dear friend Eno and myself, Simon. And at this podcast, it's our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting and sometimes also frustrating ecosystem. GM Eno.
Our mission is to help you stay on top of the latest and greatest on Solana so that you never run out of things to talk about. But Simon doesn't really feel like the latest and greatest.
I mean, you gotta laugh about it. You always say it best, I think you're the best person to talk to in this market because you don't give a shit. And we need more people that don't give a shit about prices because at the end of the day, it goes up, it goes down. It always works in cycles, and it will never go only up. It will never. There will always be bleeding in the market, and if you can't stand it, then get the fuck out of here and do something else with your life. That's just my, and that's not a command. It's an advice that I give you as a friend, whoever you are right now listening to this. But you gotta have some balls, right? Or whatever the female version of that would be. But you gotta stick to your beliefs that you have and convictions. And has convictions in this sector and in this industry, and he's here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. So that's why we don't give too many shits. Even though I have to say, I do feel a bit bad today. I'm just honest. Like I'm the other side of the coin. Okay.
Is it okay?
So
But look,
maybe you can help me. But yeah.
if we could just talk for a little bit, we have a whole agenda, and
Yeah.
actually, it's crazy because if you look at all the news that came out of Solana objectively, without looking at the price, it's like very, very bullish, right? Like obviously, the market doesn't give a fuck about any of that, and it's not reflecting any of this good news into the price. So that sucks, right? But like to be clear, like you've looked at I mean, I know you've looked at the show agenda today. It's like there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about that's completely independent of price, right?
100%. I'm excited. I'm excited about the episode. I'm excited about what's happening on Solana. I am excited about the future of crypto and this ecosystem.
Yeah.
But the prices just don't reflect all the bullish fundamentals of the sector.
Yeah.
And there's reasons to that, right?
I just fuck Donald Trump. Fuck him. I hate him. I hate him as a person. I hate him as a as a politician.
President.
I hate him as a policymaker. I hate him as a president. My God.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I know I should leave politics out of it or whatever, but like I've always hated Donald Trump, except for in Home Alone. Like when I was a kid, I always thought he was fun and entertaining. And then like once he got into politics, just and I called it too. I mean, like every Democrat has been talking shit about Donald Trump for like a decade now. So I'm not saying that I have any unique insight. I'm just, I guess, just repeating what everyone else says. But also just being in this industry and personally hating Donald Trump is just like, I made a deal, bro. And I didn't vote for you, but the deal was that, you know what, fine. If you're president, then I'll let it slide this time because at least, bull market, right? And what the fuck is this?
It is. There's so many flavors to this topic, because obviously the man can't, he can't fix the world. He can't fix America out of nowhere. He has to do certain things, right? That's the question. So there's a flip side to the coin, right? And the flip side is, do we need that? Do we need the pain right now? Do we need that? All these extreme policies that he's pushing out right now that are definitely considered very, very bearish for economies over the world, and we can see that. So just to kind of give a bit of context here for people that are just tuning in here after, I don't know, living under a stone for a month. Right now, we're at the beginning of April. It's the 7th of April. President Trump is highly involved in all kinds of tariffs that he's pulling out there. And last week, around the Liberation Day, so that was basically last week's big day, the 2nd of April. After that day, a lot of these news got pushed. This I can't even say the word. Reciprocity of tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, whatever. Like these tariffs, they got announced, right? Actually, I have let me wait 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen real quick and set up the Okay, stage here. I had this beautiful picture here. Do you see that, Eno? From the I was looking at, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Reciprocal tariffs, that's the word. And Donald Trump is showing a big sign, basically, of all the reciprocal tariffs that he's putting out. So the tariffs against China, European Union, Vietnam is getting 90%, as I see it, tariffs. So like there's like big numbers here and a lot of, taxes, which tariffs are basically are, against these, against trade in these regions. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here right now. That's the main reason why we're here. If people are asking themselves, okay, what's happening to the market? It's a trade war. We're seeing a lot of tension in the markets because of the tariffs, and it hasn't been a good week last week in terms of the news. S&P, Nasdaq, all the stock indices are in free fall. Obviously, compared to crypto, the numbers look different here. But if the S&P retraces 2% in a day, that's huge. And we've seen a lot of these pullbacks in the last week until today in the traditional market. And last thing I want to mention here, which I find very interesting, is that Bitcoin has been holding up compared to the Nasdaq and the S&P quite well. I mean, today is kind of a Black Monday again, so we saw a lot of pullbacks. But until today, BTC has been performing better than the traditional stock indices. And it almost looked like people are scared of stocks and tech stocks and growth stocks and are pulling out liquidity and putting it in Bitcoin because they're seeking a safe haven, which is ridiculous. It's insane, like that this actually happens, which is good. That's a good thing, by the way. That's a good thing. So the resilience with Bitcoin is pretty bullish. But yeah, it is what it is. We are where we are, and we do have a big agenda, and I would love to jump into it and talk about all these things. But maybe I would still like to start with a quick view at the Solana chart as well and see how we're doing over there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, actually, could you do Bitcoin first and then Solana? Or if you don't want to do Bitcoin first, could we cover Bitcoin as well? Because I'm super curious about what the price is, what's it been like this week.
For sure. Yeah, we can do that as well. Let's start with Bitcoin. Let's take a look at this. Let's see where we are right now. So we're looking at the Bitcoin chart in the daily view right now, and we are seeing that the current price is hovering around 76,385. That's where we are today as of the 7th of April. And we also see that we kind of broke the resistance from previous weeks here. So the 10th of March, we already saw a big low. We saw a big low on the 28th of February. So there were these retracements already that were pushing downwards. And we've been waiting for a pullback to the upside since then. And right now, we're at a region where we broke these resistances down to the downside. It's kind of if you look in the 4-hour chart or something, it does look like kind of a free fall right now, this candle here that we are in right now. We're just going to the downside here without any big resistances anymore in the way. But there's like a few things that might indicate, let me give you like 3 things that might indicate another reversal to the upside soon, okay, to give some positivity here in the charts. One indicator is that we're now crossing the moving average, 350 moving average down here. That's the yellow line in my chart, and it usually provided quite a bit of support, at least in the past weeks. And whenever we're dropping significantly below that moving average, that is usually a good buying zone historically, because prices are always recovering after that. Is at least if we don't enter like a prolonging of a prolonged bear market again, where we just go low and lower. Which is a possibility as well. But another good thing is as well that the indicators that signal oversold territory are also tracing down towards definitely oversold territories. So we're looking at the RSI, for example, which is around, like, the RSI on Bitcoin is a great indicator because every time it went on the daily below 30, was kind of historically has been a good buying opportunity, and it even becomes more significant in the weekly chart. So whenever the RSI is like really trending towards this lower boundary of the RSI, which is like around 30, we saw this here in the what is that? December 2018, January 2019. So it's been quite a while back. We saw also RSI at around 30 here and a big run to the upside after. We saw RSI around 30 around June, summer 2022, where we hit also big lows again. Back then, $15,000 Bitcoin. And since then, we've just went up to the upside again, right? On the weekly, we are not yet there yet on the RSI. Okay, so that if you're just looking at the RSI, there's still some selling pressure that could happen on the weekly chart. But my last comment to Bitcoin would be that there is a resistance around the 69,000 level. So if we retrace further until 70k ish, and we retrace from there, that is still that keeps the potential for another big reversal to the upside open. As soon as we break to the $69,000 mark, I think we could even go a bit lower. So there's like always these signals in the charts and these resistance in the charts, and for Bitcoin would be the 69. And if we break through that, would be a bearish sign. Technically, in the overall cycle right now, we already fulfilled the targets for a bull market as we hit the 110,000. I still have my bullish count here on the chart right now, which respects one more high in the fifth wave. But you could also build this in a way that, or counting the waves in a way that the fifth wave already happened. That would mean we already saw the bull market top. That is a scenario that is viable right now as well, and it would be proven to be even more possible if we cross the 69,000. Then the top might have been in. For now, the preferred scenario is still a retracement to the upside from where we are right now, or slightly below that. Okay. And yeah, I don't need to say too much more to Solana because it reflects the same behavior. Solana has been holding, I think, the best from all altcoins, definitely, in this market. All altcoins are right now just dying. They're just bleeding. Like, I mean, look at my trading view here in the right. Like, everything is like going down. And it's been since weeks, right? We saw 90%, 95%, 99% retracements in altcoins. Liquidity is just flowing outside, and if at all, in Bitcoin. We fulfilled on the Solana chart, we fulfilled a 5-wave move to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we also reached the target for the fifth wave, which was in this purple box right here, up to $102. We broke through that though. And right now, maybe I can use a different chart. Let's look at this one. Right now, there's a lot of wave counts and a lot of resistances that are between the $90 and $102 area. So right now we're in a very strong resistance area, and I suspect that we're either going sideways for a while here for the market to find, where to go, or we bounce very soon to the upside. Like that, those are my two primary scenarios. And then obviously we could also drop further to the downside. But again, similar to with Bitcoin, if we really drop below the $90 here and significant below that, I think there would be definitely more bearish. But for now, the wave counts to the downside, they all conclude with a fifth wave down here, a C wave to the downside down there. Like they all conclude between this $90 and $102 level. So for everyone who's doing some swing trading, doing some day trading, or for people that just want to have mental calmness here in this market, for you, this info might be interesting to know. We are in this big resistance area. A lot of downside momentum ends here technically, and a reversal from this region is definitely realistic. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm also hoping for. I know hope doesn't really count in this market. That works never, but it looks not as bad as you think it is in the first place. Let's put it that way.
Like we never give financial advice on this show, ever, right? But like just speaking more theoretically and not even about Solana itself, but the outsized returns come from strong fundamentals and fear, right? So like I have this conviction that Solana has very strong fundamentals, right? Like even going through the show this week, I think viewers are going to see like a bunch of very bullish news about Solana, right? And that saying all the time. It's buy when people are what is it? Be greedy when people are fearful, and fearful when people are greedy, right? People are definitely fearful right now, And I certainly don't want to be giving advice out there saying now is a great time to buy, because when you try to buy in scenarios like this, it's like trying to catch a falling knife, right? Like you never know when exactly you're supposed to grab the handle. But that being said, let me just put it this way. If it goes any lower, and I think that everyone's risk tolerance is very different, but if it goes any lower, I think that this could be a very attractive buy depending on your risk tolerance, right? Like certainly, like theoretically, right? Like completely theoretically, like if Solana went to $1, that'd be very attractive. I would buy as much Solana as possible, right? At $1. Now that number is just and that would be like if you had zero risk tolerance. If you had zero risk tolerance, you'd wait until Solana went to $1, to buy it. For people more degen like myself, we might think that right now is a very attractive buying. In fact, some of us might have even thought Sol Big Brain, bought a bunch of Sol at I think it was at 140 or 150, 100, somewhere around there, right? So that was just his read on the situation. He's like, this looks like an attractive buying opportunity, and he has I think higher risk tolerance than most. Obviously, that's why he's fucking rich. But I guess just depending on where your risk tolerance is, this could be a very attractive opportunity for you. And I'm not saying to blow your entire stack on a single buy, but might be a good place to park some cap, not your entire stack, but just a little bit. So like that's I don't know if that sounds like financial advice. It's not meant to be. I'm just trying to talk about how, just generally speaking, outsized returns come from when people feel massive amounts of fear. You also have to believe in the fundamentals. If you don't believe in the fundamentals, then it's just a gamble. It's a pure gamble. I'm just saying that, where some people say fear, might be an opportunity, especially if you believe.
Look at this, like you right now you're talking about the fear in the market, and the fear and greed index is usually used to put a number on that on that feeling. What emotion is driving the market right now? CNN has a fear basically a scale for that. Sorry,
it's at 4.
Yeah. So basically it's almost at 0. Like it goes from, for everyone who doesn't know, it goes from 0 to 100, and normally we are in like a neutral to extreme greed sentiment. That was the last weeks. So between 50 and 100, and right now it's at 4. That's like almost dead. Just look at the charts as well. Like this is not crypto, guys. This is the fear and greed index for overall markets. So usually growth stocks. So I think S&P, as you see here, it's S&P 500. It's what is that? Nasdaq. We have like a lot of indices that are being tracked here. Market volatility, the VIX is like shooting to the upside right now. So it definitely looks interesting. I think traders and investors in this market, they see opportunity. That's nothing new if we tell this to you guys. So what Ino has been saying earlier, which was not financial advice, but his personal take, basically, can be, and we can back this with just data, right? We don't need to give you financial advice, but we can tell you the fear and greed index right now is at 4. In extreme fear, right? So everyone is right now either selling or panicking, at least. So either they're clicking the button or they're thinking about clicking the button. And then you have other crypto-related indices as well that you can look at, or data points. The P-cycle top indicator has so far indicated the top of the Bitcoin market, usually. And it uses the 111-day moving average and a newly created multiple of the 350-day moving average that I showed earlier. And then it looks for the crossover, the intersection of these two things. It's a very interesting indicator. I don't want to explain technically how it works, but we can just look at it, and we see it hasn't been triggered yet in this market. We have been seeing it trigger in 2021, when Bitcoin hit, what was it, 61,000K, which was huge back then. There was the bull market top. We've seen it being triggered in 2018, where Bitcoin hit $18,000 in 2018, which was huge back then. And we've seen it being triggered earlier as well, every time the market basically saw this top before a retracement. Interesting, right? So right now we're still looking for that trigger. Like the 350 moving average times 2 hasn't been crossing the 111 yet, which has somehow worked out in the past. So there's like a few charts you can look at, a few data points you can look at that are still indicating that we are right now in an oversold territory, and there is still potential for further upside momentum without guaranteeing that this has to happen now. It can also happen in 3 months from now.
The rainbow price chart indicator.
That's actually a pretty cool one as well. But let's keep it here for now. Let's keep some for next time.
Well, I just want to say one last thing, which is here's my theory for good fundamentals. It's very short, which is this: there will be tokens that die because of these dumps. That's going to happen, and all the liquidity and the life is going to be drained out of them, and the people running those projects are going to lose motivation. Okay, so that's why they're going to die. Now, the good fundamentals means that can you recapture attention, right? Because that's really what it means, right? You can have liquidity that flows out in the short term, but it's okay in the long term as long as that token or its ecosystem or the products that they work on or the protocol or the meme coin or whatever can recapture attention, right? So I have a very strong conviction. I mean, most of the coins in my portfolio will not be able to recapture attention. But Solana, however, I think can and does and will. And it is already just making waves every single week. So, I mean, that's literally what we call it, cover every week. So that's just kind of my thesis on whether or not a token will survive long term. Like, can it recapture attention, when the time is right? And most tokens won't, quite frankly, but a select few will. And I'm very bullish on the future of Solana. So without further ado, maybe we get into that.
Exactly. That's a perfect segue into what's happening, not only on Solana, but also, we can still talk about one or two things that have happened also in the past week in more like a macro scenario. But we covered the tariffs. I don't want to, directly further on this topic too much. It was, it happened. Trump revealed his reciprocal tariffs rates on more than 20 countries. That happened on April 2nd. And after this, all this madness here started in the market. Within 4 hours, actually, after that, $300 million were liquidated from the cryptocurrency market. Yep, that looks perfect. And I think people are just, they just think Trump is like shooting in all directions, as I said before, which is literally what's happening right now. It is what it is. But that hasn't been the only news in the last week. There's also more Solana related news regarding the ETF, So maybe that's something we want to cover as well. Let me also pull up your screen here right now.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Perfect. So just for context, guys, our fucking studio got nuked and we have no idea how that happened. And so now we have to reset all our views. So sorry about that. But we Grace, it wasn't just Grayscale, but who filed a dang ETF last week? Could you Fidelity, so, I mean, right.
They
Fidelity
got acknowledged from the SEC.
Yeah, they did.
So that's a very good thing, by the way.
Yeah, so they filed in Delaware, and the SEC recognized their application, which is a very green flag, right? And also, Grayscale files an S1 with the SEC to convert Solana Trust into spot Solana ETF. I don't know what that means. What is the difference between a Solana Trust versus, let's say, a spot ETF?
I think the way the capital is managed inside of this vehicle is more. It's direct spot prices of the Solana asset. If it's in an ETF wrapper, basically, it will make it. It will impact the price more positively if we're putting the ETF through, and it looks very positive. Like the S1 filing that happens is usually the last kind of the last hurdle they have to overtake, and when this is through, then basically the ETF is out there. So I think, with that being said, we saw it with Ethereum, we saw it with Bitcoin. It was the same process. And right now I don't think there's any hesitation anymore. And no one is concerned that an ETF might not come, because it will come.
Oh, it's happening
here right now. Yeah.
Not even a question. And I think what we saw, especially in this last bull pump. I don't even know what you want to call it.
Mhm.
I'm fearful of calling it a bull cycle because it implies that we're in a bear right now. So just like that bull pump. It's like
Right.
we saw this huge decoupling between BTC and the alts, right? And that's mostly because of BTC ETF. So you know, a lot of capital is going into BTC, like kind of more less degen capital, which is we live in such a weird time, man, where it's like BTC is now like a stable asset, and it just everyone agrees. And it's like literally 5 years ago that would have been an insane statement. Like nobody would agree with that. But now it's like the institutional exposure to crypto is all through Bitcoin. But anyways, it's all through the ETF, and so the Solana ETFs will allow us to, you know, share in, let's say, the institutional capital that's been pumping Bitcoin price this cycle.
Yeah, it's just it's a more liquid vehicle, right, than a trust. That's at the end of the day what it is as well. So having
I see.
having a trust, it's more like a closed-end investment vehicle. And it's also like the number of shares that are issued. They are it's happening during private placements, usually to accredited investors. It's not as an open liquid vehicle as an ETF. So it's true the trust, especially in Grayscale's case, it also was holding obviously the underlying asset Solana, so that's good. And it issues shares representing that ownership of the underlying asset. So that has been done successfully, but it was traded usually over the counter, right? So in OTC markets. So it's all a bit more private, it's a bit more closed, it's a bit more difficult and less liquid. Now with the ETF, it's completely opposite. It's an open-end investment vehicle. It trades on a stock exchange. You can get retail easily involved in that. All the financial advisors can, you know, simply click a button and include it in their 401ks of their customers or their clients. You know, like there's a lot of ways liquidity can find its way into Solana ETF. And here's the thing why I'm so bullish on the Solana ETF, because I think an ETF needs a sales pitch, because in TradFi, you are selling a product. An ETF is a product, and you're selling it to your clients. And if the product is not appealing, no one's going to sell it. All the salesmen and saleswomen will be like, oh, I don't really get it. I don't know how I sell it. Let's just stick to Bitcoin, right? But Solana has a good sales pitch. Bitcoin is the digital gold. People are just like, you know, think of the boomers in their little chairs, and they're like, okay, I don't know what that is. Why should I buy it? And then the advisor says, well, Bitcoin is the digital gold. Do you like gold? Yes. Well, Bitcoin is the next era. Oh, okay. So they kind of get that, right? And then Ethereum is like, oh, did you see how the internet changed the world, and you know how much wealth was created during the internet revolution? That was in 2000. Yeah. Did you invest back then? No, I missed that. Oh well, now it's happening again with Ethereum, because Ethereum is building the next era of the internet, and you can invest in the asset that is powering this next era of the internet. People get that. And now Solana is like the better Ethereum. So it's a very easy pitch. You just say, well, Ethereum is a good idea, but Solana is doing it even better than Ethereum. It's the Ethereum killer. We said that 3 years ago. We can still use the same analogy for the boomers that don't really get what these assets are. And Solana is just quicker. It's more efficient. It's, you know, there's like some advantages to it. And if you want to, you know, invest in the next revolution or evolution stage of the internet, then Solana might be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm bullish on the ETF.
Me too. Very, 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 very bullish. And not just the ETF, but we also have new token launches. I feel like we haven't talked about a token launch in a while, because there haven't been many token launches that we've been bullish on, I don't think. But this is definitely from our friends over at Flash Trade. I know you are very bullish on Flash, and especially as a much more prolific perps trader than I am. Maybe you could walk us through a little. I really like how they architected their reward system. Plus, like the team allocation is insane. Like I'm hinting at a bunch of stuff, but I'd love for you to just to dive right in. I mean, like it is very different the way they're doing their TGE.
Yeah. So Flash Trade is a perpetual DEX on Solana, so a decentralized exchange that uses that enables you to trade futures, perpetual futures, where you can use up to 100x leverage on your favorite cryptos like USDC Solana pair or USDC Bitcoin pair. Or you can also invest in some smaller tokens. There's even obviously Bonk is on there, but even Samo is on there, like some smaller meme coins you can trade with. And you also have currencies on there. You can also trade FX on Flash Trade, and you can trade commodities on Flash Trade. There's gold and silver also quite prominent. So that's what Flash Trade does. And it convinced users in the past with a combination of being easy to use with a nice UI. So it has kind of an easy to use user interface that users really liked. And they came up with the first really strong NFT collection that actually has a use case inside of their product, which are the Flash Beasts. Now, the token, FAF, is replacing the incentive system of the Flash Beasts to an extent. And people who are already familiar with how the Flash Beasts worked on Flash Trade, it's basically something very similar, but now it is not based on your Flash Beast level. It's based on the amount you stake in FAF token, in FAF token. So you again, you have levels from 1 to 6, but here now you can stake an amount of FAF, which is not disclosed yet, the exact amount. And then you will get either a trading fee discount from 0 to 12%, depending on how much you stake. You get referral rebates. So if you refer people, you get some of their fees that they pay. And that also the number increases the more you stake. And you get a yield booster on your liquidity positions on Flash Trade, because obviously you can also be a passive market maker by providing liquidity into the pools on Flash Trade, so people can actually use the platform. And then you get the FLP token, which is similar to JLP, just from Flash Trade. So it's a token that accrues the value from perp trading. And if you have the yield booster active, which also comes from staking more FAF, you get more of that juicy boost. So that's the incentive system. That's the reward system. That's one of the utility, of the token of FAF. But they also have a governance model installed, which is also very unique. And they're using FutureKey. So they're using FutureKey by MetaDAO for their governance as well. And they also obviously give the holders of FAF the opportunity to take part in product decisions. And this is also how team allocation gets minted. So the token is mintable, which is also interesting. It can be the total supply of FAF can be increased. But this only happens if the community and all the FAF holder vote in favor for a proposal that says, hey, we want Flash Team to build a feature that allows me to have app on my phone. I want a Flash Trade app. I'm just making things up right now. I want a Flash Trade app on my phone, and I want to allocate $100,000 worth of FAF to the team to make that happen. If you want that...
Can we just like pause there for a second? That's fucking insane. Like that's actually legitimately insane that they're using Futarchy to decide token supply. I've never heard of such a concept, and like I would like to think, and like over at Sanctum we use Futarchy extensively, and we are the biggest protocol using Futarchy, but I don't think I even have the balls to recommend something like that. Like, hey, like let's control token supply, using Futarchy. That's bold, like big. It's big balls. It's huge. Like, I don't even know if you got balls that big, but that's like giant balls. It's just because so many things can go wrong there. Like, quite frankly, right? Like you get the wrong people trading on that market. That could be very, very bad. But I really want to see how this turns out, and I hope it turns out well. Like, I'm actually rooting for them, but I mean, it makes me like really nervous for them, but like I really hope it works out, because that's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, the team literally has 0 tokens at TGE, so no team tokens. So far, obviously, the Flash team has been calling the shots. That's what they say as well when it comes to product design, releasing features, partnerships, and so on. So yeah, now FAF comes into play, which is a mintable token. But all the minting is governed by FutureKey, enabled by MetaDAO project. And this is the opportunity for the team and others from this point forward to earn FAF for their work, but only if the market deems that it will result in a positive effect on the price of FAF, because otherwise, they won't vote for that proposal to mint more tokens. So if the team brings forth a proposal, for example, a new product feature like an app, that the market deems will lower the price of FAF, it will probably not pass, and the work is over, right? It won't pass, it won't be worked on. So then a new proposal needs to come up that is, painting the better picture here. So yeah, also one last caveat here. There will be a cap for maximum FAF mintable, at which point FAF should be a highly valued, fully mature product. So they put a cap in place, but down the road. So there's a lot of wiggle room until then. So yeah, bottom line, Flash is bringing FAF into the market. We don't know the exact TGE date yet. The team has been delaying this since a long time. We have to say that as well in full transparency. They have been talking about the token already last year, November, October-ish, or even earlier than that. And since then, it's been delayed. Obviously, right now at this moment, it's getting more and more hot to launch it. I'm in the chat. I'm in the Beast chat in Discord. I see the conversations, and by now it's a meme that someone asks when token. It's a meme because you never get an answer. But it is coming, and there's signs that are showing us that the token is very close because they froze the levels on the beasts. So basically, if you're a beast 6 holder or 4 or 3, you will get an airdrop. That has been frozen. That has been decided. And yeah. So the signs are there, but we don't know when.
But dude, if honestly speaking, as like a fellow, ex-founder, obviously I work for Sanctum now. I don't run my own project. I would delay again. Seriously, I would. It's just the market is not like, what the fuck. We're in a stage of the market where everyone is just pulling their capital out. Like I get the desire, like even if it's like a month or two, and I know it's just like, well, it's never going to be perfect. Like fair, but it's just like, I hope it's not this week. Just put it that way.
We could see a reversal from here. In a perfect world, in a perfect world, April is going to be a green month, and we're seeing the bottom now in this week, maybe, sideways to the downside. And then we'll have a big recovery rally in the next 3 weeks, and that would be a perfect time for FlashTrade or other protocols to launch their token. When hope comes back to the market. Yeah,
I'm gonna need Donald Trump to, stop fighting trade wars,
winning.
and then give me a reserve, a crypto reserve that's not completely neutered and limptic, and just like, it's just the BTC that we have. So like, that doesn't excite me at all. Get some Solana in there. I don't know how, but
time will tell.
I mean, like we're big fans of Anas. I think you're much closer to Anas and that team than I am, but I certainly think that they're a really high quality perps team. They've continuously impressed me with just how fast they iterate, and they take really bold product directions that I think a lot of other teams are not trying. I would say that I think very similarly to them, but I don't have the balls to do what they do, like to actually commit to the decision, which is why I think I'm a bad founder.
Okay, first of all, you're not a bad founder. Second of all, there's a lot of things they did different so far. They never raised money, right? So they basically bootstrapped the startup first, then they brought the NFTs into the market in a good time, right? They've been blessed a little bit. The time was good. So they raised a bunch of money. I don't know exactly how much, but they raised a bunch of money with the Flash Beasts, which kept them alive for a long time. And now with the token, I guess they can also expect some new liquidity, but the protocol is making money, right? So they're making revenues. They're making pretty good, decent revenues with FlashTrade as well. So they're in a very good spot, I would say, as a company. And that the reason also Anas and Sohab and the team around them, they are quite, humble, and they're quite rational thinkers. They don't make crazy, irrational choices for their business. And that's, I think, a very good sign. And there's some interesting product features that they're working on right now that I know of, which I've never seen in crypto, which is super exciting. So I'm excited. Looking forward.
Yeah, very, very bullish on FlashTrade. So, best of luck, guys, on your token launch. And God bless you and Futarchy, because that's a big ball move.
100%.
But also this week we had some other crazy announcements. Drip House has been acquired by Jupiter. So what does that mean for Drip House? Actually, not much in terms of product scope. What I mean by that is, like, nothing's getting shut down. This is often when you see an acquisition, like, it's just for the talent, and then the main application gets shut down over time, slowly. It's a slow death. But I've actually been privy to Drip House's acquisition by Jupiter since Catstamp Bulls, so it's been a few months now. And obviously, Drip House has been operating as expected, and it's going to continue to exist as a product. If anything, they're significantly widening their distribution through Jupiter Mobile, and that actually is where Vibhu, who's the founder of Drip House, is. It's probably just Drip. I should just call it Drip. But
Yeah.
that's where he's going to be and is spending all of his time. And actually, I was having a conversation with him last week, and he was like, "Could you please stop calling it a wallet? Jupiter Mobile is not a wallet; it's your portal to Jupiter." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." It has wallet features, right? But like and obviously, like on some level, they're competing with Phantom and Soulflare. But really, I think for Phantom, like the end goal is to create like Revolut. You know what I mean? Like a on-chain bank. I truly believe that's the ultimate kind of direction for Phantom. Whereas for Jupiter Mobile, like they're not trying to create a neobank, right? Like they're not trying to create a on-chain Revolut. Like they certainly could have a lot of those features, but really what it is your portal to all things Jupiter. So Jupiter Perps, Jupiter Portfolio, Jupiter Organic Score, maybe obviously swaps, but maybe Drip House as well. So that's kind of what I mean, is that like it's your portal to all Jupiter products. And yes, all of these different wallet apps will have some version of send and receive, but like that's not the entire product, right? Like that's not the vision. And I think the vision for, let's say, Jupiter Mobile and for Phantom are completely different. And Soulflare, I'm not quite so sure what their positioning is. I'd love to talk to Vidor more about that. But yeah, it's like you'll see very quickly that these wallets will start to differentiate themselves in terms of like their larger vision. And so like they all start off in the same kind of like starting point, because like they have to have like an MVP, right? But like where they all want to go seems to be very different actually. Phantom versus Soulflare versus Jupiter Mobile. Yeah.
I mean, the market is big, but it's also so competitive and easy to change that you have to establish some sort of USP, some unique point that is different from you to the others. And yeah, Jupiter Mobile still needs that. They're kind of the youngest on the block in terms of in the wallet game. Sorry for using the term again, but they're the youngest compared to Phantom and Soulflare. Soulflare positioning is very strictly your safe your safe haven for your assets. That's why the whole strong rebranding came into place. They want to be known as the non-custodial, bankless, sorry for the pun, kind of alternative to what you do with your money. So they want to be that safe haven, that stronghold, to kind of use their wording for your currencies. So it's more like a bit more crypto native, I would say, a bit more cypherpunk kind of a direction, like we against the governments and banks and so on. That's more Soulflare branding, while Phantom is embracing the fintech, as you say, and the neobank kind of thing, and just want to be part of this revolution. So yeah, Jupiter Mobile needs to kind of find their way, and they do a great job at improving the application. And I'm really bullish to see Vibo also coming into the mix now and pushing this forward.
Yeah. And if I could just say one personal thing, hey Vibhu, fuck you, all right? Because you told me at Istanbul and embarrassed me in front of 60 Jupiter engineers, like, hey, please keep this a secret, especially you, And it's like, bro, what the fuck? First of all, when I met you at Catstanbul, I had one conversation with you, like one time. Like, I don't know you like that. And number two is all like, I'm not known for having a big mouth, okay? Like, I talk a lot of shit online, but like, I know how to keep a secret. Like, Simon knows all that. Even between Simon, I won't tell him shit. So what the fuck? I just, so for the record, fuck you.
For the record. Yeah, he didn't even talk to me. Eno said nothing.
Yeah, he like called me out. I was like in front of everybody. And I was like, dude, what the hell? It's like, and that puts the ideas in people's minds like, oh, Eno's a blabbermouth. It's like, no, I'm not. Fuck you.
I mean, he doesn't know you. He only knows you as a blabbermouth, Think about that. the only thing he sees is like online, Eno everywhere talking. But if you like, I know that you keep your shit together and you don't say, the secret things. But I remember, Vibo told me in a DM when I asked him for some collab between Solana ID, he was like, "Oh, it's not the best time for us. You'll see why soon." So that's all. That's all I got. So he also didn't really scream about it. But I'm super pumped to see the whole thing actually being live now, and Jupiter being part of buying up all these amazing companies. Drip is great. So yeah, big news.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next big news. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so PayPal has a cryptocurrency offering. It's where you can essentially like just buy and sell cryptocurrency. It's not even like a wallet or anything like that. And
Yep.
they've added Solana and Chainlink. So originally it was just PayPal USD, Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. What the fuck? But
I don't know.
just 3 days ago, they've added Solana and Chainlink to their cryptocurrency purchasing options. So I mean, like that's a good thing,
Yep.
People use PayPal. I mean, it's kind of like the Facebook of payment options, but like people still use Facebook though. You know what I mean? So it's like not something to just ignore. It's good that they have Solana support now, or I mean, they have Sol tokens. Yeah.
For sure. I think it's great. Like even the news itself is great. It's bullish for Sol. PayPal is very crypto friendly, obviously, with PYUSD, being out there, their own stable coin. They had crypto integrated since months, if not years already, in PayPal itself. So you could pay in Bitcoin if you want to. And it's a kind of a boomer app, you're right. But that's exactly why it's cool, right? Because now all these people that might not be crypto savvy yet, they see it there, right? And they're like, okay, what is that? What can I do with it? So, I think it's not like crazy bullish, but it's better than nothing. So
no, it's a good thing. And our friends over at don't do that. I'm still learning how to use things, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. So our friends thank you so much. Our friends over at Kamino are partnering with Orca. And what they're doing is driving liquidity into ZBTC, which is issued by Apollo, aka the Zeus team. And I just want to say, I feel like branding on Solana has gotten a lot better. Like even when I look at some of the flash trade kind of like branding and stuff, they're calling it voltage points, which is like pretty sick. But Apollo and like Zeus is like kind of referring to like all the different Greek gods, which is also very sick. But yeah, I sorry, that was a small tangent. I'm just really liking that the naming. I mean, like the naming conventions used to be like really annoying, right? In crypto, and I feel like they're getting much more consumer friendly. But yeah, ZBTC is different from WBTC because it's completely permissionless. You don't need KYB or KYC to get access to the underlying Bitcoin. You can redeem it permissionlessly, and the market maker in this sense is not like a SEX, but like actually Solana itself, because it's all permissionless. So yeah, they have up to 100,000 Zeus rewards that are being offered to drive liquidity into Kamino and or Orca vaults. So that's very cool.
Yep. Kamino does this several times with projects just to strengthen the liquidity positionings of their pairs. They incentivize the APY you get with an additional incentive allocation. Usually it comes from the reward allocation of that token or their marketing allocation, whatever they call it. And they just incentivize the APY and boost it. So instead of getting, I don't know, like 10% APY, you're getting 30% APY because they put a boost on it. But that's in a specific time period. So keep that in mind. After 3 months, the APY will return to its norm without a boost, without an incentive. Until then, you can basically farm.
Yeah, this looks like a good clarification. So on the graphic, they're saying, for ZBBTC and CB, which would be Coinbase BTC rewards, there's 70,000 Zeus, and for the ZBTC Sol Vault, it's 30. They've made several mistakes on this graphic. Well, first of all, there is no such thing as ZBBTC. There's only ZBTC. Yeah. I mean, but also the rewards are reversed. So for ZBTC, CB, Coinbase BTC, that's 30,000 Zeus in incentives, and for ZBTC Sol, it's 70,000, which makes more sense. Like this is the pair that you would want to incentivize more, right? Like I don't mind driving liquidity into like a CB BTC pair, but like that's not like the main thing that you would care about. You'd want it to be redeemable against Sol. That makes more sense. But yeah, they. Yeah, I'm not saying any. I'm not saying any.
Whoever did that, it's Mr. Kamino intern or Vic, or I don't know who was responsible for it. Just stop multitasking.
Yeah, I get it. Dude, I make mistakes like this all the time, so I'm not even going to pretend like I'm better than the intern. But yeah.
At least you do your quality checks. You normally
I'm trying to be nice.
Rarely pass by you.
I'm trying to be nice.
But yeah, they need an Eno in their team.
Next, we have the Solana Policy Institute, bro. And this is like also a big brain Chad move. I am so Simon, could you please remind me who's shoot? I completely forgot. She was a part of some other firm, and she was the president of that firm. The new head of the Solana Policy Institute. They just announced her last week. Right.
Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, Solana.
Yeah, let's just make a quick research here.
Yeah.
And then we go back on the agenda. I actually have no idea. Isn't it an important detail?
I mean, not real. I mean, she's the Lily Liu of Solana policy, and we stole her from a completely different ecosystem. But now I'm getting not ecosystem, but from like a completely different welcome. What the hell? I'm very confused. This is not. It was a woman, and I don't know who Miller is, but apparently this is the head of the Solana Policy Institute.
He is. Yeah, I already saw that.
Don't listen to me. I am a complete moron. See, I make mistakes all the time. But yeah, we have a Solana Policy Institute that's going to be ostensibly, working with governments around the world, but probably the U.S. first to establish pro-Solana policies with lawmakers. So I believe that's incredibly bullish. Like that's really hard work to do, but like super necessary work to do.
100%. I think we need more of this, and Solana is doing the right steps, especially at this moment right now where we need to lobby a bit more, especially in the US. I think we can use something like that. I think this is essentially what they're trying to do. The Policy Institute is gonna, push our Solana-centric roadmap through on the political levels with governments.
I think that this is also super correct, which is like we need I think a lot of people are just like back regulation, but it's just not true. Like we do need clear regulation, and it's because as a builder, when you're choosing which jurisdiction you want to work out of, you want to have legal certainty that you're not going to get fucked in the ass. And so, we need somebody whose job is just to educate. And I love the way that they wrote this mission statement as well. Is that they're focused on educating policymakers. It's not about persuading. It's about like, here are the facts, right? And you can do with those facts however you see fit. But, these are the facts. So I'm going to give these guys a little follow. And I actually really like this logo. Like the green is actually kind of sick. I dig it.
Agree.
I dig it.
Yeah, it is cool. Good job on that. Whoever did it.
Yes. And yeah, we got like a bunch of other, news to cover. Is there anything in particular that you want to cover first, or just keep going down the list?
Yeah, I think we definitely can, check for the highly important ones here.
Sure.
There's like a few things that are, I think, sticking out than others. I think we covered the most important things already. Honestly, like the Policy Institute was something I really wanted to push out here as well, so people see that Solana is cooking also on this front. What else? I think we're
actually let's double click on the Policy Institute. Like, just generally speaking, what are your feelings on regulation, right? And what it means to you building out like Solid, right? Because you work in a very sensitive space, which is, PII, which, personally identifiable information. Like obviously all of it is encrypted, and there's a ZK way to pass on the information without passing on the information. So I'm just kind of wondering, for someone who works in kind of like the identity, privacy, as well as now marketing. I mean, Solana ID has evolved quite a bit over the last few months. But all of those things that you're working on touch on heavily regulated spaces, especially in Europe, right? So I'm just kind of curious, like what do you need as a builder with regards to regulatory certainty?
The thing is, because we're a data company essentially, so we're in the data space, and as you correctly stated, there's like private data as well that can be unified in your Solana ID account. But the good thing so far has been that with the privacy tag, you can actually outmaneuver a lot of the regulations because you do not have the PII as a company. Like our company really doesn't own the personal identifiable information. So it's all encrypted. What would be good is to get more clarity on that on the privacy tech itself, on zero knowledge technology and so on, and on encryption, because it's more like I think the way I consider it right now, it's like a gray zone a little bit, where you can say, hey, I don't need to care too much about privacy laws in jurisdictions, because we're not actually touching any private data with our company. Like we're handshaking data off, encrypting it, and then it's gone again. So we don't own that data. But the more we want to venture in the privatized data segment, which can also happen, the more important, obviously, data regulation gets to us. But also for the privacy tech itself, I think it's good to have some regulation. So while a lot of policy kind of evolves around financial regulations in Europe and in the US, I think we should also always take a very good look at data and privacy as well, because we've seen also cases in that sector with Tornado Cash and other companies that are in the privacy sector that definitely suffered from not having clear regulations.
Yeah. And if you will allow me to show you for a second, I'm sorry. This is just the perfect segue. So I I saw this video, but like this isn't even the video I want. This is they actually retweeted this from Solana Main, and it was a complete surprise to me. I didn't even know. But yeah, so could you tell the story behind this, behind this video?
For sure, yeah. You can scroll down on the Solana feed, you'll see it. It's not too far down there.
I see.
But we involved Yor as an actor in that beautiful video as well. So we actually did the recording together in Bali when we also did the Lost episode number 15 or 16 that doesn't exist. The podcast, like we recorded a Salt Brothers pod episode there that is gone. It wasn't wasn't able to use it, and you see here in the video as well, trying to pass by me and then creeping out of the picture very eloquently right here. Yeah, that was great. Like I love how you like pull yourself back from the door, by the way, if you really look at yourself at the beginning. But yeah, we did that little teaser together, and we did that already a few months back. And the goal was obviously to create a post for the Solana ID beta hub launch, which was on the roadmap since more than 4 months now. And we've been, building hard to ship the Solana ID beta hub out, the consumer product where everyone can sign up to Solana ID, create their ID. And the video was done already since 2 months or something. But the product, we kept iterating on the product and polishing some features that we didn't like. And now we finally arrived to a point where we're like, okay, we can push this. So we activated our marketing machinery to put this video. So we did a big live stream on Friday last week, a launch live stream where we covered all the ins and outs of the product, invited a lot of the initial partners we have that giving some benefits to Solana ID holders. And that's what we're focusing on now. Next, we want to ship benefits to Solana ID holders.
So, I was actually talking about you today with one of my direct reports. And I think about progress the wrong way. I think you approach it the right way. Like, because like I'm so cautious. Like I just don't have the balls to just reach out to the people who and I know who they are. It's just like I don't have the balls to reach out and be like, this is a thing that I need, right? It's just not really in my nature. Like I will slow roll things, and I will come up with excuses for why I think something is not a good idea yet. Like there's always a reason why, like, oh, I'm waiting. And like, even, in our conversations about Soul Brothers, like what the next move is, I'm always moving very cautiously, right? Where it's all like, if I have like 100 social, credits to spend, like I only want to spend 20 of those. Like I don't want to spend the whole bag, right? And I don't know how you approach like talking to people and getting what you need. But here's my point, guys, is Simon is the best example of someone who came to the ecosystem like a fucking year ago. Like that's not hyperbole. Simon, I'm not trying to like rat you out or anything. It's like literally a year, bro. Like you've been here for like about a year, and now you're getting your protocol as well as like, not only are you insanely connected, but like you have your protocol getting tweeted from Solana Main, which is just like, and a massive exposure too. I mean, like we're talking about in total like over 1,000 likes, which like I've never gotten for anything that I've produced, which is just, I mean, it's just congratulations, I guess, is one thing I want to say. But the second thing is that, like, do things the Simon way. Ask for what you need, and obviously, like, build up. Like, this doesn't come for free. Like, it's not like Simon
Mhm.
gets to hit up somebody and it just comes for free. Like, he's built up a history of work and relationships that, like, makes this
Yeah.
possible. But, like, that's actually the conversation I was having about with my direct report.
Mhm.
Like, he was asking me, like, how should I approach it, this way or that way? And I went into my typical Eno pattern of, like, well, I don't think it's ready yet. And then I started talking
Mm.
about you, and I started talking about
Mm.
this video literally this
Mm.
morning. I'm like, well, I mean, if you look at Simon, I mean, like, he's been here half the time I have, and he's accomplishing more. So yeah, I
Mm.
just, how do you think about how? I mean, I like less about who to contact and like the nitty gritty, but like, how do you think about asking for what you need?
Mm.
And I know this is kind of outside the podcast, but I know there are builders that watch this, so like, I think it might be helpful actually.
Yeah, I think in life you just have to sometimes go and get it. That's like there's so many humans on this world fighting for whatever, you know, like there's a fixed amount of money on this planet, there's a fixed amount of time that we all have with each other and together. There's a fixed amount of attention that can be, you know, exchanged between humans. So everything is finite, right? All the supplies we have, all the resources on the earth are finite. So that's a little bit why you have to make sure that stuff accrues in your pockets. It sounds very egoistically right now, but because otherwise it goes somewhere else. Like money, for example, is never gone. It's just with someone else. It doesn't, right? It doesn't evaporate. Like if you lose a trade in crypto, right? If you get liquidated, the money is with the liquidators who earn fees on the liquidity they provide. It's not gone. Like maybe so, and the same goes with attention and business contacts, right? Like if you don't ask for things, someone else will do it, and they'll get it. And a lot of time, I see people like us that have a good will and that have good intentions, and I see people like us being sucked dry of life because we're giving too much and taking too little, and that's just real talk. Like I want to be that person, but I also don't want to be sucked dry. So that's why I just follow my ramble that I usually do about karma, and why I have the lotus flower as a company logo and tattooed on my arm and shit, because I believe in that concept. And karma is nice because it's transactional. It goes in both directions. So if you do enough good things, it will flow back to you. But usually not just like this. You have to ask for it. You have to ask the universe to give you something. So I think these are some of the thoughts, or the way I structure my thoughts, that help me to make these decisions and ask for things and get stuff done. Yeah.
I think you're right. I just need to grow a pair of balls. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah. I did. Congratulations, by the way. When I saw that video, and like, because my notifications were blowing up, I was like, I woke up one morning, I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my Twitter? I was like, oh, okay, I see. Simon got that video on. That's fucking sick, man. So yeah, that's fucking awesome. How did you feel? Like, that must have felt really good, right?
No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, not more for my co-founder, Pierre, than for myself, because he's the marketer, right? Like, so he really earned this as well. Like, he's writing the scripts for these videos, and, you know, he wanted to get featured from Solana main since like months. And we've seen people being featured where we're like, why? And then, and we're like the most, you know, like we're so Solana centric, like you as well. Like, you know, we're giving a lot to the ecosystem. We were like, okay, now it's our time. So, yeah, that was great. But obviously, the Solana feature is one thing. We're much more happy that just the product is out, honestly, and that we can now market the product and build on top of it and iterate and improve and get feedback and so on. That's the most exciting part of being a founder, when you can actually put shit into reality and you know, transform words into actions. That's always great.
Yeah.
So we need more of that. Yeah.
I think one last thing that's worth talking about is in the stablecoin world. So essentially, Justin Sun made an accusation that, you know, First Digital US Dollar, FDUSD, which is one of the bigger stablecoins in the world. And if you've never heard about it, it's probably because you don't use Binance. Because if you use Binance, you've definitely heard of FDUSD. It's kind of like their stablecoin replacement after BUSD, which was issued by Paxos. So it's a fully regulated stablecoin based out of Hong Kong. I've met quite a few people who work over at FDUSD. I think that they're fine people. But Justin Sun threw a lot of accusations that they weren't solvent, that they're flouting the regulations, that they moved capital to Dubai. And so basically said that they were bankrupt, right? So like this tweet is misleading. It says FDUSD briefly depegged after bankruptcy news. There was no bankruptcy news. There was a bankruptcy accusation, right, by Justin Sun, who is the founder of Tron. And I think it's hilarious. I think it's fucking hilarious that Justin Sun is pointing fingers at stablecoins when literally over 95% of stablecoins issued on his goddamn chain is USDT, which has a very long history of being accused of not being insolvent. And I actually am one of those. I don't believe in a lot of conspiracies, but the one conspiracy I do believe in is that USDT, was insolvent and that they got really fucking lucky. That's what I think. But yeah, it's just really funny to me that Justin Sun of all people is pointing fingers at FDUSD.
100%, and also they reacted quite swiftly, right?
Yeah.
They came back with a statement. There's also a tweet for that, I think from Binance directly, where they said, we have released an update on FDUSD, which confirms the one-to-one backing. And then they also included the link here into their blog post where they broke it down. And the report stated that the FDUSD's reserves stood at $2 billion, $51 million. $2.051 billion held in U.S. Treasuries and overnight fixed deposits. This amount exceeds the total circulating supply of FDUSD at the time of audit, confirming the ability to be redeemed at a 1-to-1 ratio. So it looks like they came back with a good response that clarified things, which is the way they should do it, I guess.
Yeah. But clearly, you know what I think? I think that Justin Sun is pissed off about something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know who pooped. I don't know who pooped. He went to some dinner and some like the First Digital or Binance or somebody pissed him off, and he's like, you know what? Fuck these guys.
Probably. You never know the real motivations here behind these things, honestly. You just don't know.
Yeah. Justin Sun is one of those guys where there's a few people who move markets, right? So it's like Justin Sun, probably the USDT and USDC CEOs, Coinbase CEO, Brian Armstrong, maybe Toli, maybe Raj, maybe Vitalik. There are a few people who move markets. So I don't know. Those people have to be really careful about what they say. They can't just be throwing around shit like that.
Yep, that is true. Yeah. I just saw something, and I wanna just give a special shout out here at the end before I wrap it up.
Please.
I want to give a special shout out to Trip.io. We talked about it before, very briefly. But one of my dear friends, his name here on the picture, JC.
Oh.
He's South Korean as well, but he's also German, and he's one of the reasons why I am where I am today, honestly, because he worked at an investor fund when we started what we're doing, and back then he was one of the first believers in what back then was called Digital Social ID, but it became Solana ID, and himself and a good friend of him, Max. Both of them were early believers, and they kept supporting us. So big shout out to him. And now he's in the founder seat, and now he comes to me all the time asking for advice and asking for help to connect him. And I told him as well a while back, this hackathon is a great idea. Do it, Solana hackathon. Obviously you heard about it. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So maybe give us a quick. Can you give us some info about the Solana hackathon? What kind of details did you hear about it?
Yeah, so Scott Lee, who is the head of Super Team Korea, has been working very hard with the entire Super Team Korea team. That's a mouthful. Super Team Korea team. But yeah, that team through a 3-day hackathon in Seoul. They rented out a venue, and it seems like people were actually hacking there, like a traditional hackathon. Solana hackathons get shit on all the time because we don't actually hack during the hackathon. We market during the hackathon, which is which is a fair criticism, right? Because like we're much more loose about how we use the word hackathon, but it actually does look like that people were literally hacking throughout those 3 days. Because I think most people in Korea are. I'm sorry. This picture is so fucking funny to me because of the way that they set up the monitors because the desks weren't wide enough, and so that dude's face is literally.
I didn't even see that, but yeah, you're right.
It's low key funny.
Yeah.
But,
It's like, hey, let me see as well, and then I want to see the monitor.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that they've been working very hard on this, and so they have a bunch of tracks. I mean, Sanctum also sponsored a track here, so I mean, like that's why. I mean, I'm aware because exactly. Yes, the Sanctum track. So, congratulations to all the winners. 축하합니다.
No, big win, and yeah, Tripa did technically. Yeah, they literally got the grand prize of the whole Solana Rackathon. They also won the first in the NCN from Jito and Pragmatic. So yeah, big shout out to Tripa for what they're doing, building an opinion market, first sentiment prediction platform using prediction tools. Very interesting.
Wonderful. Good on them.
Yes, sir. Cool. Okay. It is a wrap. I think we covered a lot. We spent definitely a good chunk of today's episode talking about markets, prices, and mindsets on all this, but I think it's necessary. That's what people also want to hear right now. So yeah, hope everyone is still okay in this market. Stay solid. That's just pun intended. But you have to believe in something, otherwise this hurts. So keep believing and keep surrounding yourself with people that also believe, because that also helps. People that can pull you up and not down. That is one of the biggest life hacks I think you can do to stay positive in this environment. And we are positive. We're going to stay positive. It hurts a little bit, but there'll be good times as well again. So let's look forward to these times and use the moment right now to get shit done. To maybe enter some positions, use the opportunities we have right now, or just watch the whole show unfold in the next weeks, and let's see what happens. So yeah, this was Soul Brothers EP number I don't even know 23. Okay, this was Soul Brothers EP 23. You can watch us on YouTube at Soul Brothers Pod. You can watch us and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. If you do not follow us yet, please give us a subscribe on YouTube, and also make sure to follow the X account at Soul Brothers Pod on Twitter, because we're shipping a lot of great clips over there as well that you don't want to miss. See you at the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Has been my pleasure as always.
As always, Simon. Adios. Bye. And cut.
Awesome. Okay, stream still live. Don't click the button. We want to say
yes. No. I'm not. not clicking. Not clicking. I fucked up last week. I'm sorry, guys. Lots of familiar faces. GM. Yo, Soul Brothers. Buy the dip. Not financial advice. I'm definitely not saying that. God damn. I appreciate seeing your smiles for real. Sup, vlog. I love the name of this episode already. Cyber Broda is a G.
Definitely.
Ishola. GM.
What's a G?
Needed that, Simon. We always need Simon. Simon's amazing. Cards. Yo. Can you not show the charts? My eyes and heart are in pain. Lol.
Yeah. Sorry for that. It is what it is. But yeah, we feel you.
GM fellas, thanks for this, But thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for tuning in. I hope it helps a little bit, and we gave a good recap again. For us, it's time to do a quick highlight short now. That's on the Soul Brothers agenda. So usually after the full EP, we're recording a quick section of how do we call it? 60-second recap of the week. Right, like highlights
from the week. And we have lots of highlights this week, so lots to talk about. We didn't even talk about Mountain, like
which one?
We did talk about MTN last week. Yeah, Mountain Capital. But like they had their proper launch on Thursday.
Right. Yeah, they reached some milestones.
But Profit Nalik, congratulations. Edgar as well, congratulations. You now have a fund that's not technically a fund. It's a collective investment, not a scheme. It's a collective investment futarchy. So again, I'm very curious about how they're legally getting away with that. But
yeah, yes. Definitely need to have a conversation with these people. At some point.
For sure.
Super curious. Very interesting product. Do you wanna hop in a separate room, or do you just want to record the highlights here together with the fam? Anything?
Oh, do we actually want to do that? Why not? Who cares?
I mean, Josh can just cut it. Can just cut it out of here, right? Like, and if not, we do it again. But I'm pretty sure we're good to go.
Leaving for Simon again. What the fuck?
I got this. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I just I'll insert one sentence there. Yeah, it's not Eno. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, let me call this Simon. And then maybe you can do the next one. Sony Singapore. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Why not? So live stream folks, we're just gonna record a highlight section that's gonna go out on our X account as a short clip, and you are live with us if you want. You can also leave because we're technically done here.
You guys are seeing like our entire process, and the process sometimes is not like incredibly sexy, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly sexy. Everything is smooth here. Okay, so you start with the flash, after my intro line.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Here's the most bullish news and launches on Solana this week.
Flashtrade is releasing their FAF token, and it. Okay, let's try that again.
Flashtrade. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, 3. Flashtrade has announced their FAF token without a team allocation. It is a mintable token. The TGE is coming soon, and all of the decisions regarding the token are governed by Futarchy.
Was that smooth? Or was there another hiccup?
There was another hiccup. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Reset.
Yep. Flashtrade is releasing the FAF token. Fuck, motherfucker. All right. Flashtrade is releasing the FAF token, the FAF token. It doesn't have a team allocation. The token is mintable. It comes with all sorts of benefits, just like their trade Flash Beasts. Motherfucker. Flashtrade has released the FAF token. This is a long day, Simon. I can't believe we're doing this live. I don't give a.
How about you just read the sentence, bro?
No, I refuse. It's a bad sentence, and I didn't have time to rewrite it. So 3, 2, 1. Flashtrade has announced TGE for the FAF token. It comes with the same benefits as their Flash Beasts, and also there's no team allocation. It's a completely mintable token, and all decisions regarding the token are made through Futarchy.
Jupiter, the overachievers that they are, acquired Drip last week, and they announced that they plan on integrating it all throughout the Jupiverse in several different ways.
PayPal has had cryptocurrency trading on their app for a very long time, but this week they finally added Solana to the list of tokens that they allow their consumers to buy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Solana ID Beta Hub is live on app.solana.id for everyone to sign up now and claim their Solana ID for infinite perks on chain.
This is a little bit of a weird one, but Sony Singapore has added Solana support of USDC on their website. So maybe that signals a larger move for Sony. We'll see.
Solana Policy Institute launched this week, looking to educate policymakers on why the blockchain, especially Solana, of course, is the future.
This has been your weekly dose of Solana dopamine.
Okay.
Okay, that first one, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get the words out. But for everything else, I think pretty smooth.
That was clean. Yeah. I think everything. Right, folks? Let us know if this was okay. Josh, if you're here, just drop a comment. Why not? But I think it was good. I think we can work with that. I feel like I'm backstage. Yeah, you are backstage, Cyber. With bloopers.
Yup. Bloops. Bloopity bloop.
But yeah, we got it. Shall we close down the stream here? Are we good? Any
Close down the
last
stream,
words?
and we got some stuff to talk about, you and me. But yes,
Cool.
we're done for this week. Thank you so much, Simon. Last words go to you, brother.
Cool. Guys, please tune in again. Come back, because we like to have people listening to our yapping, because otherwise, who do we yap for? So yeah, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And let us also know if this format works for you guys, right? Like, always give us feedback, please. You can literally use our Twitter page and comment things. We will see everything. So if you have any wishes or format changes, or if you think we are covering certain things too little, let us know. So other than that, have a blessed rest of the day or start to the week. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. That was a good one.